I feel like in this universe where you have this kind of thing happen, I would include other like pop culture icons and
Yeah.
make it this weird like sub post apocalyptic world where you have these odd celebrities have this crazy power. Like this is a scenario where you would have Marie Kondo.
Yes.
Like she would be like an overlord and she executes people by going like, "Does this bring you joy?" And then everybody goes, "No!" And then she's like, "You do not bring joy," and she kicks them into a fucking pit. And then like you have that kind of scenario, and then in like another part of this like wasteland, you have Guy Fieri, and like when he executes people, he's like, "Welcome to Flavor Town." Everything.
He obviously
dies
has a
and
cult of
melts.
cannibals too. Like that's a given, right?
Yeah.
See,
Guy Fieri would be leading a Guy Fieri would totally be leading a cult of cannibals, and like every time, like before he bites into him, he'd be like, "Welcome to Flavor Town," and then he just like eats.
No, it's more of a
And he still
chant.
has
Like
the flaming
he
hair.
has a giant table, or I guess grill, probably in his case, and like it's
Yeah.
it's people grilling on it, obviously, because Guy Fieri, and like the ceremonial toast of his people is "Welcome to Flavor." And he says that as loud as he can, and then the masses echo it back, and then they feast, kind of thing. That's how it's obvious.
Definitely something like that. And then like in another part of town, you would have Carly Rae Jepsen with like, I don't know. I feel like she would be in some sort of like tank girl.
I don't feel like
type
she's
of setup.
powerful enough to lead an army in this scenario. Sorry, like that there are other equivalencies to her that are more culty.
She might be up and coming. Like she's not exactly a high-ranking lord of these like.
She's more of a nomad
wasteland,
band. Got it.
But she's she's up and coming. Yeah.
So Charlie, who would you put into our ridiculous apocalypse scenario?
I just assume there's a faction of metalheads living as they always have, where it's like, remember electricity? Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, you have all these things going on, and the metalheads are just like, yeah, electricity was nice.
Yeah, we and I say we because I'm definitely a metalhead. We're all just in Scandinavia watching the world descend into madness, and we're like, cool, everything looks like a heavy metal album cover now. Fantastic.
Basically, it's Brutal Legend. Yeah, it's
Pretty much. And then somewhere in a corner of the world, you would have Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg, and then somebody gets executed in Martha Stewart's garden, and she's like, "Please tidy things up."
Oh, I assume she's kind of like a Hunger Games, like they become a Hunger Games like authoritarian government or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
and Snoop Dogg just wants to hang out.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
Snoop
Job is judging things based on how chill they are, and Martha Stewart is judging things based on kind of presentation and overall quality. And if you fail to impress, you get cast out to the wasteland.
Yeah, or like you'd walk by and she'd notice you left something out of place, and as she's walking by, she just slams your head into the cement wall.
Yeah, of course.
She's like, "Please pick that up," and then she just keeps walking without skipping a beat. Yeah.
Or worse, she just grabs you by the scruff and goes, "Do you know what I did to people in the locker?"
Hello and welcome to this podcast, this Something Wicked Studios podcast, this wicked awesome cast right now. This is number 164. So today I am back. I am back from the void. I am existing again.
You could say you came back from Shadow Realm.
No! No!
How was it in the Shadow Realm?
No, we're moving on. Do not humor him. Do not look at the man that will not let a bad joke he doesn't even understand die. He clings to it like a man being swept out to sea, attached to the wreckage of a sailing ship being circled by sharks with a slowly bleeding leg. He believes he may survive, but he won't. Either the water, the shark, or starvation will get him. It doesn't matter which.
What is they may never die?
It sure drowned the shit out of you, though.
Yeah, why not? That was perfectly timed.
That's a problem.
But yeah, welcome back, Henry. Yeah, you were gone last week, and hope all is well. You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. If you don't know from last week, Charlie changed his name. He's no longer moored Act with a 4K is now Mordak Undivided.
The way you
So
explain
there's
it
been
every time makes me angry.
There's been a lot of changes since you've been gone.
Mordak Undivided, no further explanation required.
We
Just dive-
we revamped the Discord a little bit. We moved some stuff around.
Did we?
Changed some names. No, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
for the sake of making it look like we changed some things. So it's like if you let someone borrow your car and you get it back, still your car, just slightly different.
They probably farted in it a bunch.
Guilty.
Or it's accident.
But yeah, episode 164. We're here, we're doing our thing. The Musketeers have reunited, if you will.
Sure. I don't remember that book well enough to make a bunch of jokes about it, but I'm like, are we busy fighting the injustices of the French nobility now? That's news.
Yes.
Sure, why not?
Professional ability being some of these scummy game companies.
Yeah. Sure, one of them's French.
Readily fight. But yeah, well, so Henry, since you've been gone recently, tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, what have you been up to, man?
Alright, so I have been playing a lot of video games.
One would hope.
I'm still on the kick of playing video games that won't burn out my onboard video card because I still haven't bothered replacing it.
Before we get into it, though, like, please tell our audience, like, the emails or texts we've gotten, like, right before the podcast is kicked off each week has been like, yo, suffering from terrible motion sickness. It's been like, oh, good God, what the hell happened? Like, what have you been doing to yourself that's caused these problems?
Okay, so I am a person that can get motion sickness.
Fair enough.
I can't read or play video games or do anything if I'm on any sort of a vehicle. It will just make me pretty sick.
Ugh.
But usually it's it's not too bad. You know, like it's not really devastating. But the other night I was coming on the way back from actually this something going on in downtown Los Angeles. I was in Chinatown, and I just got combination of events, combination of I think it might have been partially the food I had, and just kind of stop and go traffic, or you know, a lot of turns and stop and go traffic. But I got more motion sick than I have been in like a decade. It was bad. I just felt awful, and it was so bad I was still feeling it the next day. So I mean, that just told me how bad it was. I mean, that's literally, I haven't been that sick in a decade. Because I remember the last time I was that sick. But that was awful. I felt so terrible. Like, yeah, it's pretty bad if you're so motion sick that you literally feel like crap the very next day still. And I didn't start to feel better until well into the afternoon.
I feel bad now. I was expecting some like ridiculous story, like, yeah, I got stuck on a roller coaster for 6 hours or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I see roller coaster. I can handle, like, for the most part. Like, I generally can. I've been on a lot of roller coasters. It's certain things. Usually it's a combination of stop and go plus like lots of turns that'll make me sick pretty quickly. Yeah, I don't know the contributing factors, but yeah, I mean that was pretty bad. But other than suffering there,
there,
yeah.
Let us recount multiple points of suffering.
I played quite a few video games. There again, as I was mentioning, I've been playing, still on this kick of playing games that won't melt my motherboard. So that includes Monster Prom. So I picked up Monster Prom and the DLC for it. I don't know if...
I feel like I looked at this game. Like, it's essentially a monster dating game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this one floated through my, like, you might like this, Steam, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Steam? You're not
it's
wrong,
because, like,
but no.
I keep sending you weird games to check out, and you actually check them out, so... That's probably on me.
Yeah.
But... but yeah, I liked it. It's a very stripped down game. I'm going to say it's definitely more of a party game. Like,
Oh,
you should...
I thought like a graphic
You should-
novel or something based on the quick ad for it I watched.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's a visual novel. It is a visual novel.
Right.
It is a dating sim. But it is very much stripped down. And it is multiplayer. So you can play...
Okay, explain this part, 'cause that actually sounds kind of fun.
So it's actually 4-player. So it's up to 4 players, 1 to 4 players. You can play it alone, and I've played it alone more often than I have as multiplayer. But it is very stripped down, so it works in kind of a cycle of days.
Okay.
And so you have something that goes on in the morning, lunchtime, and at night. And you can choose essentially which room you want to go to or what you want to do. Depending on what you do in the morning and evening times, that depends. So those you get to choose which room you go to, and which one you go to has an automatic boost to your stats. So you do have stats in the game. You have like 6 sets of stats. And so the stats will ultimately determine how well you do in the end game. And so I'll just mention what the end game is right now. The end game is going to the prom.
Okay.
And asking somebody out to the prom. And that will depend on your stats. And different stats work better for different possibilities, dating possibilities.
As is with most dating games, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you go through each day, you get to choose which room you go to. So there's a sort of a set thing where you always gain a boost to one stat. And then there's on each section on, morning, afternoon, or night, there's a optional, or I shouldn't say optional, but sort of a story that will go on where you have a chance to either boost or lose 2 stats. And so that depends on also, like, how well you do on those depends on your stat rating. Like, if it's high enough and you choose a particular response, then it's going to be successful. And those can gain more people that are possibilities for you, so they'll start to appear more often in the sort of extra thing that happens during the events.
Okay. Like a trigger, or is it like a
Yeah, there's triggers.
social
sort of.
modifier?
I think it's kind of a combination of both, in that there's sort of a stat going on that's unseen. A stat that kind of
Sure.
essentially, it's a trigger to be able to even, like, properly romance somebody, it seems like.
Yeah, that's normal, I guess. At that point. I thought you were talking more like
And so their romance is unlocked if you do certain things. But yeah, you have a choice of 4 different sort of monsters to pick as, and then there's there's quite a few ones that you can pick as your possibility for a date that ask out at the end. And so there's 2 forms of the game. There's a short and a long one, and the long one is about double the length, and it has a little bit has higher requirements for the stats to be able to pull things off, and to ask somebody out at the very end. But yeah, I have to say that because it's so stripped down, it's maybe not as fun for a single player playthrough.
okay.
But I will say this: there are tons of unique events. You are unlikely to have the same events happen in any particular from one game to the next, because there is a ton of stuff. I know, because they actually have a count on there, so you can see how many of the events and endings you've seen to that point. And so there's a ton there. So it's definitely has heavy like playthrough. Like, if you want to go back and play through it again, so there's a lot of content there. There's a ton of content there. And the DLC adds a lot more as well. So, and it was on sale, so I picked it up. But yeah, I'd say that if you pick it up as pick it up with a bunch of friends, because that's going to help a lot, especially because it is a competition, essentially. You end up in a competition.
Does the multiplayer work, I guess?
You take turns,
That's
essentially, like on what you're going to do during that particular part of time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can choose... I haven't gotten to play too much of the multiplayer, admittedly. But yeah, it's so that kind of take turns, and yeah, you could end up asking out the same person in the end. That's one thing that definitely can happen. And you can try to steal somebody away from somebody else, essentially. So that's what. So you can really compete. So that's the unique thing. The fact that you can play a form of the game where you are competing, or possibly competing for the affections of one of the monsters.
So, I guess two questions. First of which is what monsters are available, and like, are they like their traditional monster selves, or is this some dating game romance bullshit version of these monsters?
It's a cartoonized, cute, more
Yeah.
cute versions of everything, but they're really cool designs. I mean, it's worth checking out. It's really super cool designs, and it is basically versions of a lot of classic horror movie tropes. I mean, you've got your really classic ones, or at least classic in literature, your vampire, werewolf, zombies, things like that, and ghosts. Mm-hmm. And you have a Medusa type character in there, a Cthulhu summoned character. It's entertaining. It's funny. It's sweet. It's lighthearted, and it is kind of unique. And like I said, it feels a little bit bare in a certain sense if you're just playing it as single player.
Sure.
Because it is very stripped down. It is very simplified. But that's for the sake, really, it feels like it was built to be played multiplayer. And you can either host your server or you can play locally. So you
That's
do have
cool.
options
I was just
too.
like, you can do multiplayer. No, it sounds like it's pretty involved multiplayer.
Yeah. So they did. So yeah, there is network or local co-ops, or not co-op but versus essentially. But yeah, that's cool. I've played. I played some games I picked up off of itch.io or whatever.
The
website with the
I talked about them a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. And so I picked up a couple of games on there. I picked up some one called Hine Dere Beat, which is just a really stripped down platformer. It's fun. It has nice little graphics, but it costs like nothing, so I picked it up. A really cool one I played, just because it's kind of unique. It's called Digital Lovin', and so it's a sort of a top-down shooter game but it has some pretty cool mechanics in there. Has some interesting mechanics where you can switch out, and the way you beat each level is you have to gain a certain amount of points so you can give love. You're trying to it's a dating game as well, in of a sort, I should say. And so you're kind of like a hacker, and you're kind of hacking into a system and trying to impress somebody. It's kind of neat. It's fun. But that one's just Digital Lovin' is just a browser game, so you can just go on their site and play it. So that one's free. So other than that, I've also been watching the European Speedrunner Assembly Summer Marathon. And so I really like these video game marathons, these ones for charity. This one is for the Swedish Alzheimer's Foundation. So that's super cool. And that's going to be going on all this week. So you can go to esamarathon.com, or you can go to their Twitch channel, which is just twitch.tv/ESA Marathon. And yeah, it's going on right now as we speak, and it's super cool. It's for a great purpose, a great charity, and so I'd say check it out. Look at their schedule, see if there's anything that interests you. I was just watching a Monster Hunter World showcase earlier, and yeah, that was pretty cool. And they're taking on some of the more unique bosses to kind of essentially show off the game essentially. But yeah, great cause. I definitely recommend checking it out. But and also, I mean, if you're feeling like it, support a very good charity. But I'm going to say this: I have not watched Stranger Things season 3 yet, so I don't want that spoiled for me. So nobody spoil that for me.
I have not watched enough of it yet to hate on it, and I don't know what Alex has gotten up to.
I've watched it, and I think it's a lot better than season 2.
Well, yeah, that's not.
Yeah,
hard.
I didn't. A lot of people didn't like season 2 as much as season 1. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the first 2 seasons, and yeah, I've heard some good things about the 3rd season. So I guess, I don't know, I don't have any particular reason for waiting other than I just, I only have a certain amount of time, I guess, but, and I'll probably binge watch the heck out of it when I eventually do get around to it, so, but.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good, I have to say. It's definitely enjoyable. And it's amazing what you can do with good writers and with fewer episodes.
Yeah.
Because this season has less episodes than the previous one. So.
Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can do when you have talented writers and talented showrunners who do a good job.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they waited instead of trying to just churn something out as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just, we got to put it out now because it's popular and there's a craze for it. No, they decided that we'll actually give this some time and make sure that whatever we put out is actually good quality. And you know what? Kudos. I think it's too often that things are rushed out way too quickly. I mean, even talking about the video game world, things are, where something can be rushed out because, they want to catch a craze or they've, for one poor reason or another, something gets rushed out. And it seems like they wanted to take their time with this one, make sure that it's really hits and that's good and solid, and that's good. And I can definitely appreciate that.
No.
So I guess let's just go
Sure,
right in.
you want to go?
Yeah, fuck it, why not? Still playing way too much Destiny 2 lately. I'm almost done, I think, with my insane murder rampage through Gambit. I got my light versus light achievement, which means I just have to reset and finish my Malfeasance quest, and I get Dredgen finally. I should have that done by next week. It did lead to a real cool moment. So, light versus light, for those who don't know, which is I'm assuming almost everyone out there, means you have to kill an opposing guardian in their super in Gambit, so it's half luck, half skill at that point, because you have to kind of have the situation to have them react accordingly. I managed to get 3 of them at once, which was real goddamn cool, and while I would have liked to have had it, like last week or something, if you're gonna get it that way, I'm like, okay, this kind of makes it okay. I'm a little less annoyed by this. That was a cool way to finish this bullshit. But yeah, playing way too much of that. Probably still. I broke my clan last night. We were doing the Last Wish raid, and there's an exotic that drops from it called 1,000 Voices. The guy that was kind of sherpaing the raid has run that thing upwards of like 30 times, I think, and never gotten this thing. So we get to the end, and there's a chest, and there's a room of chests, and you open the chest, and you have a chance to get 1,000 voices. I got it, but no one saw it pop up in the loot thing, and like before we even started, he's like, "Oh, yeah, beginner's lecture, you're gonna get 1,000 voices the first run, etc., etc." He's like, "Oh, did you get it?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Bullshit!" And he's like, "Fucking liar!" Like new members of the clan, I had to equip it and like shoot it at him. He's like, just fucking loses it, just quits right out of the game right then and there. Goes onto the Discord and is like, "Well, we just finished Last Wish." Like, "Oh, how'd it go?" Fucking Mordak got 1,000 voices. Oh, on his first try, and I'm like a couple of I post. I'm like, "Yeah, so what do I do with a glittering key?" By the way, he logs back in, jumps back into the chat room. He's like, "You got the fucking glittering key too?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a good." He's like, "It's the goddamn ship. It's less than a 1% chance. Drop."
Yep,
You got them both in one run.
And you know what? That's one of the things that actually drove me away from playing a lot of MMORPGs is the idea of rare drops and ones that are like ridiculously rare. I'm generally not willing to play the same thing like 30 times or whatever, or 100 times to try to get a rare drop.
Yeah.
That would literally drive me insane. But I get the people that like that, I guess. That type of grinding, that level of grinding, would actually drive me crazy.
There's a fun in it to me. I like the raids of Destiny, so it's kind of one of those ones where it's like, would I do Last Wish again? Sure. Do I need to do Last Wish ever again? No. And maybe we'll stay that way, because that thing even run, like, we ran it really well, despite me not knowing the raid at all. Like, it just takes a lot of time. Like, Leviathan, I get the impression like it's like Destroyer of Worlds or Shadow of the Past, sorry. Like that one you can bang out in like an hour and a half or something, which I'm not saying raid should only take an hour and a half, but I'm not sure I have more than 2 hours to raid any given week kind of thing. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Like, Jen's been really good at putting up with my crazy Gambit drive this week, and I'm like, it's out of hand. This is gross. We're gonna get it soon, and then we can stop and tone it back some, hopefully. And it's like, we probably won't, but like, we can lie to ourselves about it. Yeah, no, I playing lots of Destiny still, a lot of Gambit still. Almost dredging. Real happy about that. But I did do something completely unrelated to Destiny this week that is gaming related. I went to something called the 2-Bit Circus, which is I'm going to use this description, and please do not take it the wrong way. I will elaborate on it and make it sound cooler. It is the best David Buster's you've ever been to. And by that I mean it's actually kind of cool to be inside of it. I only use that description to kind of drive home the idea of it's an arcade for adults. There's a bar, there's like a midway of arcades things. So it actually started off a couple years back, maybe closer to 5 at this point. They did a touring like actual circus thing, and that now has a permanent residency in kind of downtown LA called 2-Bit Circus. Still, it's cool. They have like half the space, so they have a shit ton of VR stuff. Like if you're curious about VR. For $10, you can try out a bunch of really kind of cutting edge VR stuff they have going on there. And that's pretty cool. It's not anything near as involved as like the Void we talked about like almost a month ago now. But it is like it's all not Oculus, the other one, Vive headsets for like shooting gun games and stuff like that. They have Space Pirate Trainer just kind of as a playable thing there, and that's one of the best of those games out there right now. They have like the bird simulator thing where you like strap yourself onto this weird looking jet bike with wings and you flap to make a bird fly, and it's first person bird view and all that jazz. It is neat.
That sounds cool.
So they have that. They have kind of their midway stuff, which is a bunch of arcade cabinets, most of which have, I want to say almost everything there has a competitive aspect to it, hypothetically. Like the coolest arcade cabinet they had, I did not play, it's really simple. It's a monitor and then these 2 levers that are on kind of, they got to be synchronous pivots or something like that, because you can only move them side to side. You control your avatars moving back and forth on the screen. You're moving side to side, and you will collide with each other at 90 degrees, kind of dead center. And it's pushing the other person physically back and forth to make your character move out of the way on the screen. It's neat. It's a fun idea for an arcade cabinet. At least I thought so.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that before.
Yeah, and then they also have like they call them game rooms, but they're kind of more interactive. I guess they're slightly more linear, kind of escape rooms essentially. They also have a bunch of kind of homemade games that they made themselves, and those are actually really cool. They're relatively simplistic, kind of what you're doing, but the ideas behind them are a lot of fun. Like they have a game where it's essentially a ball on a tether that hangs from the ceiling, and you swing it and you slam it into a building on the screen. You're like knocking down, you're simulating a wrecking ball, and it seems kind of dumb on paper, but when you're playing it, you're like, yeah, this is actually kind of fun. As we were leaving, I'm kind of like, I had a ton of fun in spite of my kind of general grumpiness, jadedness. I'm like, no, it's cool in there. Like, in spite of myself, I had fun.
Yeah, I actually just the other day, Friday, I actually went to the bar, an arcade bar that sprung up near me called Player One. And
look, I've been
it's
there.
not bad.
Studio City, right?
Oh no! This one is. Oh, that one's called the One Up. This one is actually really close to me. I mean, it's just down the street. I can't actually say the actual location, but it's just south on Lancashire, essentially. But yeah, it just popped up recently, just in the past couple of months, and it only really opened up in the past couple of weeks. And so it actually has a pretty good size arcade in it. They're cycling out some games. I already see some problems with some games already kind of being on the fritz. Like, I was really disappointed to see that the Ninja Warriors cab is already out. Like,
what is the Ninja Warriors cabinet? Like, is it just steroids Mario?
Ninja Warriors cab, it's a double screen, so it's 2 screens beside each other, essentially. Well, they've set it up to where basically it's 2 screens beside each other, but It's a cool game. I love that game. It's a game from the 80s.
Oh,
Or
it's not.
maybe
It's nothing to do with the current Ninja Warrior fad.
No, well, Ninja Warriors. I mean, they're actually coming out with a new one. Like they're coming out with a new
It's
a
not
new
an
game
obstacle
in
course
that
game.
series. No.
Okay. I thought you
No,
were saying it was a
it's
game based off the
Oh, you're thinking
game
about
show
the
slash
show.
TV show Ninja Warrior. Yeah.
No. It's called Ninja Warriors. It started in the 80s. I think it's Taito is the company that or I think it's Taito. I don't remember. But in any case, yeah, that's but the original, they have the arcade cab for that, but it's out. It's not working right now.
Mm.
Another thing I've noticed at a lot of these arcade bars, and I think it's hilarious, is some of them have these obviously super illegal multi-ROM cabs in there.
I don't think they're actually illegal. Like, so
it has like 1,000 games on it.
yeah, I looked into this at one point. There's a company out there, a couple of them, that essentially sell ROM cabinets, and like they're never games you've heard of or think are good, but they have like a million not quite games you've heard of versions of games. Like,
no, the ones I'm looking at have like Street Fighter 2, and they have every game you can possibly think of. 1,000 games, most of them well known and popular. I
actually bet those might be legit. Like, I've seen some weird stuff.
I can't say. That seems like, is the ROM thing, just ROMs in general, are already kind of like, and these things totally look not, I mean, I don't think they look legit at all.
They might not be, yeah.
I think it's a sell. I'm pretty sure they're getting them from like China or somewhere that's like has looser copyright laws, because, I mean, I see games on there that I know for fact that Nintendo and other companies have gone to bat to make people take down.
No, sure. What I was going to say is, like, I've helped also people build several the cabinets for an arcade cabinet, then stuck a TV and like a cheap Dell computer inside of and turned it into a ROM cabinet. Like, that is also a thing you can do relatively cheaply.
Yeah. But yeah, these are cabs, or it's a board, actually. I'm pretty sure it's a proper board, but it's a board that just happens to contain, basically it's an emulator and a ton of ROM.
I'm not sure it can be an actual board at that point, but I don't know.
Like, but yeah, it's like, it seems super, super sketchy to me. I really don't think that that's legal, what they're doing.
It might not be, yeah. But I also know, like, there's some weird kind of emulator arcade cabinet stuff out there that, because they're emulators, they get to circumvent some of the rules, where it's like, it's not as good or as real, but yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
None of
Every
that
time I see one, I'm just like, they probably aren't in trouble, because the companies, the many, many companies that have games on there, probably don't care enough at this point.
Oh, yeah, probably like 2/3 of them don't exist anymore.
I'm going to say at least a good half of them don't.
Yeah.
Or at least have completely abandoned those licenses.
Yeah.
So, like, what else about 2-Bit Circus? What else, like, really stood out to you as a something cool that went on there?
It's not sure this is necessarily a cool thing, but going back to the David Buster's comparison for a second, they do have food there. And I'm going to throw the words quotations around food, and for avid listeners, we haven't talked about food in a while, and I'm returning with a doozy of an item for the list. They will sell you there a waffle cone, like a waffle cone for ice cream, full of maple syrup and deep fried chicken.
This sounds glorious.
It is fantastic.
So
this sounds like the best day ever.
It is sticky and gross and should not exist, but it's called like a chicken and waffle cone or something. And when I ordered this, I was expecting like them to hand me a waffle that they had like bent into a taco shape or a cone shape or something, but no. It was a waffle cone.
Was it the bigger waffle cones?
Oh yeah. Like to go to like actual naming conventions for ice cream, I think what you were confusing was a sugar cone, which is like the traditional pointy hard one. That's a sugar cone. The kind of wafery, paler one they use for soft serve, that is, I think it's called a cake cone sometimes, or just a wafer cone. The waffle cone is the like much larger, comes with a minimum of 2 scoops. You could put a small sundae in this, and it's like they have that fucking loaded with chicken and just maple syrup. I'm not talking like a drizzling of maple syrup. I'm talking like when you got to the bottom, there was a solid half-inch of maple syrup at the bottom, and you're like, well, I guess I'm doing shots of maple syrup from a waffle cone? Oh God, what has led me to this point?
Yeah, that sounds ridiculous and awesome.
It was
I mean,
great.
It is, I mean, for those not aware, it is definitely like waffles and fried chicken is a thing that's just kind of a food set.
Yeah.
And might as well combine it, you know what? For portability.
Yeah. A part of me is convinced it does not go far enough. Like, when it's that ridiculous, if they'd said, like, we can put ice cream on it for $1, I'd be like, fuck yeah! Let's make this extra confusing for those involved.
See, I think I might have mentioned it before, but like there is some Korean street food that does a similar thing that combines things that that's a main dish and a side dish and just put it into one. For instance, a popular one is corn dogs with French fries embedded in the batter.
I think they did that there too. Like they had a bunch of what I think of as like normal arcade food, and then they had like their signature arcade food stuff, and everything off the signature one had a normal sounding name like chicken and waffle cone, but based on chicken and waffle cone's execution, I can only believe is sinister's the wrong word, but maybe not exactly what you'd be expecting.
I do like interesting foods.
Yeah, if you're there, I highly recommend the chicken and waffle cone. It was great. Weird, but great.
Well, I personally won't have it, but it certainly sounds like it'll be good for other people.
So this very much sounds like the food scientist is having a fucking...
Yeah, it's definitely in that category of things. This is less food science and more like hipster Tom chili trucks, where it's like, yo, we will sell you some Frito pie for $13. That's way too much money for you to just dump a bunch of medium grade chili into a bag of Fritos. Yeah, but we're in a truck. There is a compelling argument that does make this somehow more justifiable.
I will say this though, we do have some very much actual gourmet food trucks.
Oh yeah, no, that's just me shit talking a very specific food truck. Fucking redneck hillbilly food truck. You were overpriced and not that great. Yeah. That's about it though. It's been hot in LA, so it's been kind of just low energy, avoiding the heat stuff across the board.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. Definitely starting to get up there.
I think like around 9 p.m. last night, it was still like 100 degrees in my neck of the woods. It was hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's new with you, Alex?
Well, let's see. So, I've been watching the Race to World First that's been going on right now.
That's still going on?
So what's that?
So the Race to World First is a event that kind of started up recently with Old Deer in World of Warcraft, where you have all the top end guilds actually streaming their progress. Because in the past couple of years, like up until recently, the top guilds never streamed anything. So you never got to see any of the kills firsthand. You never got to see any of the strats and any of the stuff they would do. So it wasn't until around maybe Old Deer, I believe, maybe even Argus, where they started actually streaming their progress so people can actually watch and see what's going on. And it kind of blew up and became this thing. So, like, you have all these guys, like, the top guilds, like Method, Limit, Pieces, and a few other ones that are, like, streaming all their stuff from the very beginning. As soon as the world first kicks off this Tuesday, you had streaming events. In fact, we talked about it last week, but Method is doing their own thing this time around, and then you have Limit, Pieces, and another guild doing their stuff with Red Bull. So, so Red Bull actually is flying out players. They're in like a Red Bull arena, and they're streaming their game there. So, it's pretty cool. I know there was some drama with the last week when we talked about the whole Method thing, because the previous two raid pushes were done actually with Method and Red Bull teamed up. So that changed up recently.
Yeah, we talked about this a bunch last week, I think. 2 weeks ago, yeah.
But yeah, no, last week actually. Yeah. Because this is when the week officially opened. So, I've been watching that. It's been a lot of fun. I know as of right now, I believe Method is at the last boss, so they're on the mythic phase of Ashara. So I'll be watching that throughout the day, just because it's really, really intriguing, and I really kind of like where this is gonna go, kind of thing. But it's cool because like you have guilds who are watching it and like, okay, what are they doing? Okay, let's see if we have those ults ready to go, and if they don't, well then, oops. But yeah, they're streaming like 12 hours a day, just consistently raiding. And if they like can't do a specific mythic boss, they'll split their raids up and do heroic pushes to gear up their alts so they have the right characters for the next attempts and all that. So, but it's being put on with like as you think it's just people streaming their raid, but like you have a lot of the raiders actually streaming their individual stuff. But then you also have like a main stream that has like commentators talking about what they're doing, stuff that's going on. So like if you don't know anything of what's going on as far as a raid goes, you can hear them actually talk about it with commentator background, so you can get a little bit of context.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I mean, I know WoW isn't your thing and all that, but if you wanted to check it out, I would definitely recommend checking out both of them. Method and Red Bull's channel are streaming both. So and you get a bunch of different point of views. So you have like one time they'll be showing a Shadow Priest point of view, another time they'll switch to a melee, one time they'll show the tank, or they'll show a healer. And they'll tell you who it is, what guild they're in, and like the point of view that you have. So, it's really cool because, like, again, also you see the different UIs that people have come up to make them comfortable to raid in that scenario. So, overall, it's really fun, and it's really nice to see that they're actually kind of making this well, it's kind of an esport, but it's like yes and no, because like the World of Warcraft arena esport is kind of meh, to be honest with you. Like, it's not really that fun to watch, but like this stuff, like the raids themselves, with like having 20 people in a raid trying to work on something, I think it's a lot more fun to watch. So, I mean, it'd be like I don't know if Destiny does this, but it'd be like if they were streaming the raid as soon as it comes out. Do they do that?
Oh yes.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. Like when you have something like that, it's fun to watch. So.
Yeah, Destiny gets into it so much that they've been after doing this year, I think, actually, like raid. If you can complete it within the first weekend it's out, you get a special emblem for it. And I think there was one raid where no one got it, or like only one team got it or something.
Yeah. But it's like I said, it's pretty cool to watch. Yeah. So I'm really, really enjoying watching the Race to World First. So I have it playing in my cubicle at work when I'm like sitting there at my desk, so I can just kind of listen in and all that.
I'm amazed
it's hard to watch Twitch at
long.
work, obviously.
I'm amazed it's taking this long.
Oh, it can take a while. I mean, I think the last raid, it took almost 2-3 weeks before somebody got a world first kill. So, because the thing is too, like the mythic stuff, like some bosses in mythic aren't tested. So, Blizzard does have a habit of sometimes hot fixing certain things, as pulls are being done to kind of like, oh, this mechanic isn't working as intended. So it was actually kind of funny because that came up during this raid here, because there was a boss. There's a boss that they thought maybe one of the abilities it was casting was actually doing a lot less damage than it should, but it seems that wasn't an issue, and it was low enough damage that it changed the whole raid strat, and people were one tanking a boss as opposed to running at least 2 or 3 tanks. So, yeah, like for one of the bosses, Lady Ashvane, it's a 3 tank fight that people are doing, which is not common nowadays, considering most fights are usually 2 tanks, 4 to 5 healers, and your DPS. So, I mean, hell, there was a fight we did where we had 6 healers in for a fight, just because there's a lot of raid damage and stuff going on. So, but yeah, overall, like, it's been fun to watch. So if you're not into WoW, check it out, pop in, take a look, and it's definitely enjoyable. So that being said, my guild personally is now 3 out of 8 mythic. So we're working our way up. We're actually at one of the hardest bosses in the raid tier currently, minus Ashara, is Lady Ashvane, because there's just so much damage going out consistently. So we're working on that boss right now, and we're expecting either that boss will get hotfixed or they will nerf it in the next couple of weeks. But it's definitely going to take us a couple of weeks to get it down. There's just a lot going on. And my guild only raids 2 nights a week for Mythic, Friday and Saturday nights. So, But yeah, so that's been going well. Also, so I know a couple weeks ago that Harry Potter Wizards Unite game has come out, and at first I was kind of meh about it, but it's kind of grown on me.
That seems to be the reaction for lots of people. Like I've not gone back because fuck it, who cares? But Jen was not a fan of that game at first, but she's still compulsively playing quite a bit of it.
Yeah, like I've actually been enjoying a little bit more. Like they have the community day event going on. I think today. Yeah, it started yesterday. As of this recording, which is the 21st. But yeah, yeah, it's been growing on me. I mean, I've been doing little stuff here and there, and luckily at work there's a big collection of like the inns, so I can get a lot of energy from there from just walking around.
Yeah,
and doing
there
stuff.
does seem to be a correlation between people enjoying that game and having an easily spammable thing near them.
Yeah. So I if I need energy, I can just walk around and do a lap at my job and collect a good amount of energy and head back.
Mhm.
So, that part's nice. That being said, I haven't been playing Pokemon Go as much, despite the fact that obviously they use the same locations for everything.
Sure.
I don't really play Pokemon Go as much.
Old hotness versus new hotness. I get it.
Yeah. That being said, though, we did do a raid on Pokemon Go the other day, and I caught myself an armored Mewtwo. So
I do not know why. I am still somehow apparently exceedingly aware of the going-ons of Pokemon Go, despite not having a phone in my possession with that thing installed on it. So Jen still plays both pretty frequently, and she walked by a group that was raiding for the armored Mewtwo, and it was like, is this thing rare? I'm like, very.
Yep.
I don't know why I know this.
yeah, I caught one, luckily. So, yeah, we had a raid pop up near the same place, right near work. So I was able to walk over there during a quick break and do the raid, and I caught it, and it worked out. Yeah, I was very, very happy.
Cool.
But, let's see. Other than that, that's pretty much been it for me. I mean, I've been playing mainly so focused on keeping up to date and up and running on WoW. That's pretty much what's been the bulk of my what do you call it, actual gameplay right now. So, as always, a lot of games have taken a seat to the side, if you will.
Mm.
Yeah, I have not tried it out. I mean, considering that I am a person that's watched all the Harry Potter movies, read all the books, I actually haven't tried out that game yet. So now I'm actually interested. Now that I'm hearing some reviews come through on it, I think I might actually install it on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely, if you're expecting it to be similar to Pokemon Go, in a lot of ways, it's not.
That's probably a bonus for me personally.
I don't think it's as good as
Pokemon Go
was.
Pokemon Go never quite captured my interest, to be honest.
Don't think this one will either. Then
I think it's partially because I don't really have an interest in Pokemon that much.
That might help. Then, yeah.
I was a bit old when Pokemon actually hit the States and hit really big. That was around the 2000s, early 2000s. And I was already well into college by the time it hit, so I mean, there are a lot of people that still play it were people that played it when they were pretty young, I think. There's not as many people my age playing it. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I don't know. As far as, I'm talking about not Pokemon Go, but the main Pokemon games, like on the various handheld systems and such, but yeah, I guess I never really got into it, but I think I could see myself getting into that. It's not the game style. I think it was just the subject material just didn't interest me. But
yeah, Pokemon Go fails if you don't care about Pokemon. I don't think the game in the Harry Potter one's as good, but
okay,
yeah, each their own kind of thing. Like, as someone who does not care about either one with burning passion necessarily, if you kind of like took the IPs out of both of them and said you have to pick one to play, which one do you pick? I'd probably still pick Pokemon, but that's mostly because there's a lot of weird free-to-play bullshit in Harry Potter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me. Nothing too fancy.
Cool. It's good to all be back in one location. We got some news this week, as always.
Oh, do we?
We do.
Do we now?
We are low energy this week, apparently.
a little sick.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Some quick ones I guess we can burn through pretty quickly. We'll start off with kind of my favorite why do we keep having to do this old man moment. Watch Dogs 3 is crowdsourcing in-game music. You may remember this as the same controversial move that got Beyond Good and Evil 2 in trouble a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So why is this a problem? Well, on one hand, you could look at it as a chance for people that like video games to contribute to video games they care about or whatever. On the other hand, and this is sadly the side I fall on almost exclusively for this one, it's a chance for a game development studio to offload a potentially costly aspect of a game that doesn't require maybe the same level of detail polish that other stuff does onto their fans.
Yep. Yeah, I can definitely see both sides of that. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, one of the things that we've definitely talked about multiple times is, essentially games being released and they just rely on people to be the QA team, like on players to be the QA team, and yeah, I definitely see that aspect of it here, because I mean, bringing in good music, people who can write good music or fitting music can be expensive. The whole production process is expensive. Yeah, it seems like they're just kind of pawning off that responsibility, but yeah, I kind of agree with that too.
We're not saying this is not free. Unlike last time, where it definitely had a free implication to it, you will get paid if the music is chosen. You might get upwards of $20,000 if your original music is chosen. But
that's at least they're like offering a payment for it. It's going to be way less than you might get otherwise, but because I'm going to say you aren't going to get like options or points or any on the retail sales or anything. So
that's not as much as you might get paid if you were actually working for the company. But it's better than nothing. It's a lot better than the previous version of this, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, it's $20,000 total, so it's $2,000 a song.
Okay.
A little less.
That's
a little less good.
That's okay, actually. I mean, like the price. I mean, as far as paying for
no, it's not. That's pretty bad at that point.
It depends on the length of songs they're expecting, but I mean, in the production level,
putting so part of that. I guess part of why I think this is not so great is like they're offering a lot of criteria for we want a song that fits like high stakes, teamwork, suspense. You're sound designing for them at that point, full-heartedly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're totally sound design. Yeah. Not just writing songs, and that's a thing in itself. That's why, whenever there's people that are really good at writing soundtracks for any media, movies, video games, they tend to be pretty popular because it's hard to find people who can just write to a situation or a mood.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing just to write music, period. It's another thing to actually write to a particular situation on demand.
Yeah.
I'm always kind of impressed with that when it's done well, and in general, just when it's done competently.
Yeah, we'll see how this one plays out. It's unlike last time where there was no promise of money whatsoever. The promise of money, at least this time around, is a step in the right direction. It still feels scummy though to pawn off your work on your fan base. Where like they'll do it because they think it's cool, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But you are then still profiting off of essentially fan art at that point, which
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're definitely not paying industry rate at that point either.
No, you're not. That's definitely not industry rate for what they're asking for.
But think of the exposure, guys.
Let's be honest. Like, unless you really
I sure wish I could pay rent and exposure.
Oh, I know. It's absolutely fucking dumb. But yeah, this whole thing just like it's not exactly choosing beggars level. But have you guys ever checked out the choosing beggars?
Yes, we've talked about it several times in the podcast, dude. Yes, every time.
Yes. Yes. Exposure bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because it's totally valid everywhere. I can go and buy food with exposure.
We're just rehashing bad internet jokes now.
Yep.
Speaking of bad internet jokes, though, Alex, why are people mad at Fallout 76 now?
Because Fallout 76 refuses to die and comes back and just becomes more Fallout 76.
What did Fallout 76 do this time?
So, Fallout 76 released a new patch recently. It was, I guess, update 11, patch 11, if you will. So, they... There's some huge Reddit posts with the unofficial but comprehensive bug roundup that goes over all the issues that have come up since this last patch has gone out recently.
Okay.
Some of those, I'll go over some of the highlights. There is now saying that legendary enemies aren't dropping legendary gear at all, despite being farmed for fucking ever. There also is an area now in a place called White Springs that will automatically kill you. There's now a bug where your character will become beheaded if you step out of power armor.
Okay.
There's also an issue. Well, actually, there's a couple of power armor issues. The game will freeze. Players stuck inside the armor. Gear that's perpetually unequipped for some reason. If you thought that was bad, though, they also introduced some items you can buy in the store for your, like, little, like, what do you call it? What's the headquarters that you have in Fallout 76?
I don't know. Camp?
Yeah, your camp. So you can buy camp items from the atomic shop. So, for example, there's a greenhouse you can buy that's unstable and doesn't work, and you can't actually throw anything in it. And also not placed properly on the map.
What does unstable mean in this case? Like, it spontaneously combusts? Like,
no, so you buy a greenhouse, but you can't actually grow anything in it.
Okay, it's not a function. Got it.
It's non-functioning. It won't snap properly onto the foundations. It won't actually snap properly onto the nap.
Oh no, I was imagining a far cooler glitch where, like, you would drop it in place and it would just, like, after 2 seconds combust because it was chemically unstable or something, and, like, something in the code was bad. No, this is just an unfortunate glitch that has no humor in it.
Yeah, it does nothing. If you try to build a white picket fence that you bought from the atomic shop, it also does not snap properly into the floor.
Okay.
So you can't actually place it. It doesn't place properly at all. There's the collisions all fucked up. So there's another one. Let's see. Removing the foundation from your camp will cause a server crash. And the thing is, a lot of these bugs that are starting to pop up are bugs that were fixed on a previous patch that seem to have come back.
I was just
going to
ask that, like, how many of these are things that previously worked fine and now are problems?
There's a good chunk. So it seems whoever was working on the new patch had an old patch data and threw that out there. So,
but remember, you're getting paid DLC in the near future.
Yeah,
for you hardcore Fallout 76 players out there still.
Yeah. So between getting let's see. I guess the AP drain continues after stopping related action remains after power armor improvement. So if you sprint in your power armor while opening the map in the Pit Boy, drains your power for the power armor for some reason.
Great.
So there's a weight issue with carrying things. You can use a fist weapon after enabling the power armor, allowing a weapon exploit. Characters freezing, I mentioned that one. Your power armor pieces are unequipping after every server hop, logout, or changing of game mode.
Oh, wow.
Pieces of your armor are disappearing after logout. Renamed power armor gets renamed back to their default name.
Oh, it's not so bad.
Are they doing this on purpose? I mean, are they trying to... I feel like they're like, we gotta kill this game. We gotta make sure that nobody ever wants to play this game again. Let's actually just kill it. I mean, this is...
They don't give a fuck about this game.
Holy crap. I mean...
There are a bunch of interns sitting in a room trying to scrap together...
This is an intern. This is like a monkey at this point. Like, they went out to the jungle, caught a bunch of simians, and threw them in a room with a coding desk.
Yeah. So... Let's see, the list actually on the Reddit post about what's going on, because this stuff wasn't logged by the actual company, is really bad. Oh, if you open your social tab and you have a large friends list, causes the game to freeze and crash.
So being popular is now a game problem. Got it.
Yeah. Yep.
So the
Oh.
streamers
So-
that have kept this fucking train wreck going are now potentially having a worse time.
Great.
There's a weird bug where you have no option to trade, invite the team until you fast travel or log out of the game to fix it. You can't interact with NPCs or vending machines properly. There was an audio glitch with weapons where you would have you'd have an infinite crazy loop of audio like when you fire stuff. That came back.
We're belaboring the point at this point. I think it's safe to say just shit be fucked, yo.
It's
Everything is bad. Everything is terrible.
yeah.
And
It's
somehow they make it worse. Every time they manage to find a way to make it worse. And that's impressive in a certain sense, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad. Oh, remember Nuclear Winter? That's their
Yeah.
What is it? Their battle
Yeah.
royale?
No, that's
Yeah, you can't add friends. You can't add friends from the social menu if you're in Nuclear
Fun.
Winter mode.
Just random weird bugs. How? This
Yeah.
this code is held together with hopes and dreams.
Yeah, we've seen this before on other games. The issue is like the fact that someone's still actively playing Fallout 76 enough to encounter these problems. That's what confuses me. We've all played games where someone like puts a patch out and it re-breaks a bunch of shit. It's like, oh shit, we were developing this for a previous patch or something. Our bad. But holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
This one
Hold on.
seems like the worst so far. I mean, that's impressive considering what we've already reported on.
No, it's still not as bad as some of the launch stuff. Like this is
I guess that's true.
Yeah, like,
That is true.
so this is the last one I'll talk about because it's just minor, but it just comes to give you the level of fucks they don't give about this game. There's a weapon called an ultra sight laser.
Okay.
It's not firing lasers; it's firing plasma.
Okay.
How does that matter? How is that different? I don't know. It shoots energy at
Yeah.
that point. What do you care? Is it still killing shit?
I believe the type of ammo makes a difference.
Oh, the
it's
type
like,
of
Oh,
ammo.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because it's laser projectiles versus plasma. It's kind of like the void energy, fire, and electric energy, and like
Fair.
Or
I have
arc
not
energy
played Fallout
and
76. I do not know if there's like damage type triumvirate of physical kinetic energy and plasma
do.
or something.
Yeah. they have some of that.
Okay.
But yeah, the laser gun's not shooting lasers; it's shooting plasma instead.
As all laser guns should. I see no problem here. Like this is obviously someone didn't know what they built, and they built a plasma gun, and that they thought it was a laser.
Yeah, it's like if your lightsaber was droopy and just kept leaking.
Hello, I'm Darth Cialis with my droopy lightsaber.
Yeah. So, but yeah, oh man, and this is after recently they were talking about how, like, they do really like this game and they do want to take care of it. And Todd Howard is like, Fallout 76 is going to be like the Elder Scrolls Online of this, like, of this world and this and that and oh yep, nope, people are pretty fucking
If E3 was not insulting enough to people where it's like, yeah, we're not going to say the beta's over, but you look, we're adding NPCs all of a sudden. If anyone's still acting like they weren't sold a beta and lied to about it at this point, like after E3, after all this shit, like, I don't know what it takes at this point. Like, if you are still out there defending this game, like, I don't care if you have fun with it at this point anymore. Like, the fact that you are continuing to be a part of this thing should be an embarrassment, I think, at this point.
I think the fact that they're putting stuff in the shop that doesn't even work
No, that's my point.
and still
Like,
charging you a premium for
so
it literally means they don't give a shit.
Well,
about
here's
it.
the problem with that. Like, someone has to pay active money, hypothetically, for that. Meaning, we're going to talk about this more in a second again, too, for a different game. Like, you are continuing to support a game that, like, yeah, it's just, you should be insulted at this point. Like, the fact that they are giving this game away with PS4 controllers in Europe still should tell you everything you need to know about this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess kind of in the same note of things that people should have stopped playing long ago, we're going to talk about Anthem.
Yeah.
So after over a month of Anthem doing absolutely nothing, there appears to be something going on. By the time this podcast goes up, I think we may be a couple days we see the fruits of the labor of it. Allegedly, the Cataclysm stuff is on the way, hypothetically. What is the Cataclysm? Well, as far as we know, it's a bunch of fucking fog. But beyond that, we're not so sure. What this has led to, though, in the kind of days leading up to this, is a whole slew of amazing in-game glitches, ranging from, like, dungeons materializing in the air above the public zones to just stuff breaking in fantastic ways. Mostly it's like floating space station cities and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I did reinstall Anthem because maybe there's going to be something new in it next week, so... And...
So... did this go live by mistake?
So there is some... there is some stuff out there with a couple people saying, like, some of this stuff went live by mistake. Like, there was a kind of a preparing for Cataclysm. They're going to start putting some stuff in, like some extra storms and stuff that was going to hint at it coming. But I guess like the whole floating city thing they have going on is like, yeah, that's not, wow. Like it's like almost like they pushed out a dev build of it occasionally where it's like, yeah, the transparency for that should be off or something like that. You're seeing the mechanism behind the machine. You're not supposed to be able to. But again, also remember, Anthem has also had an ongoing microtransaction shop this entire time. Yes, you can grind in-game currency to get to it, but yeah.
Hey, we've got some hype here. Was a mistake.
Yeah. I'm not sure which subreddit amuses me more right now, the Division or the Anthem one. Like, the Anthem one is like fire and brimstone and fuck all this shit. The Division one is just kind of this sad wasteland of people being like, remember back when we had like an average of 50,000 active logins at any given time on this subreddit at a minimum? Yeah, we don't get that anymore. and the two Destiny ones are out there just being like, oh, that's cute, you thought you could compete with the best.
Yeah, Destiny's just sitting in the back like, yes.
I allowed these dalliances come back to me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I haven't played the Division 2 in a while,
actually. Yeah, no one has, apparently. Like,
in fact, I'm going to install it.
Why?
Well, because I don't play it, so I'm uninstalling it. Clear up space on my 1 terabyte SSD.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I still have Destiny 2 installed, and I'll probably, once the things start to slow down on WoW, I'm going to jump back on there and play that some more, because I definitely want to continue having fun on that. Because Destiny 2, there's something about Destiny 2's, like, the engine for it is just really good. It's an enjoyable...
No, it's not! Oh, Destiny 2 or Division?
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2 is fine. As someone who recently played the Division out of curiosity, I do not like the combat in that game, I'm learning. Like, it's not good cover shooting.
It's not horrible.
I think it plays worse than Anthem does.
I don't know. Well, you did console or controller.
Yeah.
So that's different.
It's a flow and feel kind of thing. Yeah.
Destiny 2's best one is the Destiny's engine overall for controller and PC is both fucking solid.
Some might argue it's got good gameplay just across the board at that point, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What to go to next? Guess we're talking about loot shooters. Borderlands 3 has gotten out there and said that they will not have crossplay at launch. They're actively, quote, working on it for after-launch support, but it's unclear where that will go. This was kind of after a confusing event. It was after a reveal of a confusing event name titled Better Together. They've done a real good job of showing nothing but trailers for that game that make me regret pre-ordering it. Like, maybe I'm too old to enjoy Borderlands now, but just so much of what they're doing has me going, This doesn't look good. This looks real memey. Is that a thing I'm willing to put up with now? I don't think so. I really hated Sunset Overdrive. But yeah, more on that as it evolves. We'll see if it actually ever comes to fruition, because if Destiny can't get crossplay, I'm kind of be surprised if Borderlands can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even offering cross saves. It's just we have no cross. Yeah, I'm not gonna speculate on that one. Death Garden, a game that me and Henry care a great deal about, is adding a 2 vs 10 mode.
Oh,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so it's gonna be 2 hunters and 10 scavengers. That's coming in the near future, I believe. It's no exact release date just yet. So we are getting closer and closer to what I want, which is a hunter versus hunter mode.
I'm actually not interested in that. I mean, I think what draws me to this and Dead by Daylight is the asynchronous aspect of the multiplayer.
Yes, I'm not talking about that to be the main mode, but I want a chance to kind of see in an active way how the hunters compare against each other. Kind of like I kind of want I don't know, try to work like a scavenger versus scavenger mode. I think would be interesting too. Not like the deathmatch or something, but from like a resource capturing and control aspect of it. I don't know. I as someone who really likes Death Garden and is not such a big fan of Dead by Daylight, the fact they're willing to play more of the game modes for this makes me happy, because as much as I love traditional Death Garden, more options I think is a great thing. What this also opens up is the chance to have like an apprentice and experienced hunter, which that game just desperately needs.
I think just having just 2 to cover a bit more ground, I think that'll just make things very interesting.
Yeah, I also enjoy playing hunter in that game though, and it's hard, like getting into it, and like the advice everyone has is like grid it out till you unlock these 2 things, and then you kind of come around a corner. I'm like, that's cool. Maybe those should be unlocked from the get-go if those are like 2 of the most important things to being a hunter, because the game's real hard without them. Yeah. I don't know. We shall see. What next? We talked about the Switch Lite last week. We are getting a kind of quotations on this upgraded normal Switch, and by that, the chipset that's used in the Switch is just getting an upgrade, so the new ones moving forward that will be in them will use up a little less power, so your battery life will go up. No, it's not a full actual hardware revision. It's just because of technology progressing, your Switch will get better. If you already own one, sucks to be you, but yeah. Speaking of sucks to be you, I guess, GameStop will be the exclusive physical retailer of the PS4 version of Metal Wolf Chaos. The fact they're making a physical version of Metal Wolf Chaos makes me real happy.
The physical copy will include a metal case that, upon opening, will reveal a digital code to redeem it on an online store.
It should be a gun, in all honesty, given that game, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because those have already existed at this point.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm very sad it's not something more extravagant, in all honesty. It was like a missed opportunity on their end, but I get it. Money is hard. It's very destructoid, though, either actually selling a game through GameStop, but yeah. Yep. Apex Legends is the latest to join the how do we punish cheaters in multiplayer frenzy. Lots of games just ban people or do kind of like normal things. Apex Legends is choosing to do my favorite thing, which is making cheaters play other cheaters.
Which I think is the best.
It's fitting because it's Respawn, and they did the same thing with what's it called? What's the game they made where you can wall run and do all that crazy shit? They did the same thing on Titanfall. Yeah. Of course they did that, which is
I'm not
great.
gonna lie, as someone who like gets real annoyed if I'm in a game with people with cheaters, but also really enjoys watching cheater versus cheater matches and fighting games, I could be real into this.
I can. This is great. This needs to be a thing that's done in the industry more often.
like
Like, don't heavy hand ban. Just throw people into a fucking server with other cheaters and let them get pissed off when the person they're playing with is also
like the
cheating.
best version of this I ever saw was, I think it was Killer Instinct had Rage Quit Jail, where if you rage quit during a match, you got placed in jail and you had to play against other rage quitters, and your punishment was you had to successfully finish a match, meaning both of you couldn't rage quit, so it was possible to spend like eternity in rage quit jail.
It's so good.
And you're only
This really is the best.
I like creative ways of dealing with it, because it's like, it does seem like actually removing a person's ability to play the game entirely might be a bit heavy-handed.
I don't think it does anything. Like, the reality is, if someone cares that much about Overwatch or Apex, which is a free-to-play game, you're just gonna make a new account.
Yep.
And be an asshole all over again. But if you make it so it's like, no, you still have your account. It's just miserable to play.
Yeah, I like that approach. I just like the creative approach to dealing with it, because let them make each other super angry. I am super down with that.
It reminds me of one of my favorite episodes of Black Mirror, which instead of having a prison, they have the shame, like the shaming, where it's like it's just a bunch of people walking around reminding someone of the fucked up thing they did. It's like, yeah, this is what actual punishment should be. Yeah. We got two last ones. Kind of our last real news, air quotation thing, if you will. Frank Pierce, co-founder of Blizzard, you know that Blizzard of Blizzard Activision fame and pocketing X amount of money a month from Alex going back quite a ways, is departing Blizzard after being there for 28 years. Why is this a big deal? He's a co-founder. He's the last of the founders to be around at this point. And it's not clear if this is a retirement or leaving, but it sure as hell seems to be leaving to go do something else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, considering, like, people haven't really been too happy with, like, you hear stories of people not being too happy with working internally at Blizzard, and with a lot of the changes they're making now, like, it's just a matter of time where the rest of the old guard, if you will, are just going to head on out of there. Like,
yeah.
He was the guy upset by the kind of backburnering of Heroes of the Storm. He's like, no, my baby!
Yeah. Well, you don't fucking blame him. That's his baby.
Is it?
And it literally got fucking tossed
I was making a joke. Is that actually his baby?
Oh, no, I don't know for sure, but I thought you knew.
Fuck no, I was being like, that thing no one really wanted, but we made anyway. I'm the one that caused that to happen.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, and it's funny that you hear them say that, considering, like, there was an interview a while ago with Mike Morhaime, of one of the other co-founders and the first actual president of Blizzard. He talked about stepping back into the arena at some point, so he might be gathering up the old guard to open up a new studio or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, people loved working for fucking Mike. So if he is putting something together, I guarantee you'll start seeing people flock over there. Not a problem at all.
Yep.
So, yeah. Activision Blizzard, not so fun to work for. Blizzard, when it's run by Morhaime, absolutely great. You hear a lot of really good stuff, and a lot of good games came out of that era. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't surprise me. Like I said, it's just, it's just that don't know what else to add to that.
Yeah.
It's just file that one under more signs that Blizzard is just falling apart.
It also convinces me that the guy who's running things now, Jalen Brack, is just an asshole.
Yeah. It sounds like, all right, so let's just say I am intimately familiar with being in a video game company and watching the founders get pushed out of it by the new guy in. Like, I have watched this happen from the seats, from the trenches. And so that, I'm not saying that's what's happened here, but that's a thing that has happened. That I have personally watched happen. So,
yeah. Well, you've got the guy who's running Blizzard now, like, Activision puppeteering aside, the guy who's running Blizzard now is a guy named J. Allen Brack. The same J. Allen Brack who told people years ago about Classic, you think you want it, but you don't.
Yep.
So, watching the justice served when he had to be the one to announce Classic, or World of Warcraft Classic coming out is fucking great. So, and considering it's built a lot, it's actually refreshed a lot of interest in Warcraft, or World of Warcraft specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling the same guy who has that kind of attitude towards the fans, being like, you think you want this, but you don't, is now the guy in charge of Blizzard, which is fitting considering Activision does shady shit, especially with like Call of Duty, to have this kind of asshole running the show.
Yep.
So. But anyway, that's my opinion on the matter. It's not fact. The part about him saying, you think you want it, you don't, is fact. But my opinion on the matter is that I don't think he's really genuinely has the interest of the company at heart.
He has profit.
Again,
he is a classic investor-driven CEO. I mean, I've just seen this so many times, and it's obvious because you can tell by the leadership of a company. It's like, is this a CEO that's thinking about the company holistically, like, all the people involved and the fans and, the actual customers? Or is this a person that's first beholden to investors? And it is night and day. You could tell the difference immediately. And the current guy running Blizzard is definitely a guy who's just first priority beholden to investors. And that's it.
Yeah, because that wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, that's just, again, my opinion on the matter. It is not fact. I don't know 100% what's going on in the internal workings of Blizzard.
Yep, we're just speculating
but
here.
So far, based off his attitude and the way he acts in public to fans, I think he's a grade A douchebag.
We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least on our news docket this week, we have adding to kind of our ongoing, what is Epic doing with all that money they're making off Fortnite, but Epic's bad. We have Epic contributing over $1 million to the 3D open source program Blender.
Oh, cool.
Most I don't think are going to be familiar with Blender, but for those who are working like 3D modeling and stuff like that, Blender is an open source, so it's free program that kind of lets you make a whole range of 3D models at that point. It's really popular in the 3D printing world.
Yeah, it's basically the free alternative to like Maya and 3D Studio Max, which are both really expensive.
Yeah.
They're super good, but man, they're expensive. They are super.
I've used Blender;
expensive.
It's fine. The Epic is directly targeting what the worst part of Blender is, which is the interface aspects of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
which
so
is really
the interface has been clunky.
It's been
for a
garbage.
long time now.
Let's call it what it is. It's bad.
And so that's been needing a revamp. And I feel like. And I feel like what we're going to see is maybe see it distributed through their launcher, through the Epic launcher.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely I think that's a big, huge possibility. We're going to see it through the Epic Games launcher.
Yeah, and I guess
maybe even an asset store that's basically is directly linked in with Blender. So.
And before you kind of get on your high horses going, like, why would they do this? Remember, Steam already does this. Like, there was a chunk of time you could buy stuff like Photoshop. Hell, you probably still can.
Oh yeah, there's
Steam.
lots of software available.
Yeah.
There's and it's still available. So, but I mean, in this case, it's free. But I feel like what they're going to end up doing is creating a new or linking their asset store as it stands in with Blender, or making some sort of easy way to put Blender assets onto the asset store.
I presume it would be a smart move to find a way to output Epic Store models, that whole asset thing they have, if you made them Blender friendly, or vice versa, where if you could make something in Blender and then upload it as an Epic asset kind of thing, that'd be a smart move on someone's part.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what they're kind of looking to do, as well as just sort of, and this is just me super speculating, they're looking for just really good, they probably obviously want to partner with somebody. I mean, if you're familiar at all with the Unreal Engine, it doesn't have a 3D editor built into it. I mean, no engine does. I mean, Unity doesn't either. But I think they're looking to make it just easier, make it better, what you often refer to as a pipeline between the two programs. So you can easily send assets along from Blender into Unreal Engine more seamlessly. And maybe even be able to switch back and forth between them pretty seamlessly. So I think they're really looking at kind of widening and maybe making, and they're probably don't want to partner with Adobe, probably a little bit too expensive, or Autodesk. I mean, not Adobe, but Autodesk.
Mm.
Who Autodesk is the owners of like Maya and 3D Studio Max. But yeah, I think this may be I think they're looking for a strategic partnership. I think they're absolutely looking for a strategic partnership here. What they do with that, I don't know. I'm interested in seeing what happens. So, I mean, as a developer, I mean, definitely I'm interested to see what happens here. I've worked with Blender a little bit. I am not a 3D modeler. I'm definitely not a 3D modeler. The most I've ever done is maybe fool around with an existing asset a little bit, with some sort of base asset to make it fit to a game.
As someone who does a lot of 3D modeling for work and may or may not wind up owning a 3D printer within the next year, I like that someone's making Blender less ass to use.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting.
Indeed.
Because they aren't buying them. That's the other thing that's a key thing here. They are not, and they have the money, obviously, they could just buy them out or whatever, but they aren't buying them here. They're just giving money, I'm sure, as part of some sort of strategic partnership. But, yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for news this week. Y'all ready for the one email we got?
Yeah.
Henry, if you wanted to contact us, though, to send us an email, how would you go about doing that?
That would be wickedawesomecast@gmail.com.
What's that email again, Alex?
wickedawesomecast@gmail.com.
And where do you find that information if you're confused as how it's spelled or something like that?
Spells in the show notes down below.
Spell it.
It's not my
line.
line.
Sounds down in the show notes, etc., etc. Send us emails. We love getting them. I have one this week, and it is fantastic. Comes in from Patrick. Dear Wicked Awesome Cast, I recently found myself somehow involved in a long conversation about wizards. Normally this is something I would keep to myself and not turn into an email to send to internet strangers, but after last week's conversation about tabletop RPGs, I felt compelled to send it your way for reasons. The conversation was essentially about whether hippies would be considered wizards or not. My argument was that they would be considered druids since nature, but my friend insisted that they would be wizards. Obviously, they are wrong, but then I listened to last week's podcast and couldn't help but imagine what kind of magi you three would be. Alex is obviously some type of jester, illusionist. Henry might be some kind of magic rogue hybrid, and I think Charlie's just someone who learned like one or two spells, one of which is Siphon Life and Fire Tornado. And gets by with just those two, or those three.
I think that would be the most accurate description for Charlie.
I don't really have a question, but I suspect you two can do something with this discussion.
I don't know. Do you think I'd fall under illusionist? I definitely.
You'd be like the meme version of a wizard, like whatever can cast meme as a spell. That's what you would do. Which I think is a
I would literally
thing
take
at
the
that
phrase. I think I would literally take the phrase, "Don't let your memes be dreams."
Yeah,
heart, and make illusions based off of that.
Yeah, like, you'd be the fucking wizard, like prancing around in some ridiculous outfit, just like shooting sparkles at people or some shit, being like, "I did it for the gram." They'd be like, "It's medieval times. We don't know what the fuck that is."
I've played a character similar to that in Shadowrun, believe it or not.
No, I can believe it.
Oh yeah, I created a character more or less based on Alice in Wonderland, and so all of my spells were whimsical in nature, and what I would do with her illusion spell, like that I would be very whimsical. I think whimsical is definitely how I would describe this character, weird and whimsical. But I could see Alex being that. Yes,
I dig it.
Power word pun.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes, exactly.
Feels very on brand for Alex. I just love Siphon Life.
This person knows his little too well.
Love Siphon Life and fire tornado, the two I get.
Yeah.
Feels very correct.
Yeah. No, whoever this is must know us in real life, because these were pretty fucking spot on.
So mine was what
magic
rogue
like
wizard
magic
hybrid.
wizard magic like a magi rogue hybrid or something. Yeah, like the idea of you being someone that like uses magic to do stealth and then's like phantom blade attack, and just me being like, I'm gonna steal your life and light you on fire. I got 2 spells,
Yeah.
bitches. Oh, that's cool. You brought an army. Fire tornado. You can only use it once a day. So I'm using it every day.
Yeah, there's a character in one of my favorite animes that's basically one spell.
Yeah. Is it fire
Yeah,
tornado?
Basically, it's a Konosuba, and it's explosion, and can be cast once per day, and it's the only spell she knows, but it is, like, world-endingly powerful.
Yeah. I love the fact that
Yeah,
it's not just explosion. It's like, it's not just dangerous. It's like dickishly dangerous. Like, you create a fire weather hazard. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
If the fire doesn't get you, the tornado might.
Oh, yeah, and that's pretty much every time she actually casts it, that's more or less what happens. Yeah, Megamine. She is a explosion person.
So, what would some of our supporting characters be in this scenario? Like, what's Nikolai Tracksuit as a wizard? Because the food scientist is obviously a necromancer who dabbles in alchemy.
I just imagine Nikolai Tracksuit as being able to, like, alright, engage in what should be obviously deadly anything and come out unscathed.
So I go the opposite direction. I picture Nikolai Tracksuit's just like, pretending to be a wizard, but like just has like under his cloak like grenades with the word fireball written on it or something like that.
Okay, I could definitely
Like, I cast fireball. It's contained in this jar. Grenade!
Yeah, it's just grenades. He's a wizard,
So
but he just has...
What would you call his spell where he has just like guns hidden under his sleeves and he like points at you and you get shot and you die?
Magic
spell would he
missile.
call?
Yeah.
Magic missile.
Magic missile, you
Arcane
die.
fire at that point or something. I cast arcane bullets.
Yeah.
Why are you reloading your arcane bullets? Shut up!
I'm not reloading, I'm casting hand signs, wizard style.
Well, that's not without precedent. I mean, that's basically Devil May Cry, so...
Yeah.
I just love the further idea of he's like pretending to be a magician or a wizard, so he's just flashing gang signs and shooting people in the face with wrist guns.
You don't believe in magic, but I believe in bullets.
What about Scrump? What is Scrump, then?
Summoned demon.
The warlock
Yeah,
pet.
basically.
Yeah, that's...
Caused by fire
that's
tornado.
Yeah.
Well, it's like in the Shin Megami Tensei series, it's sort of a reoccurring motif or thing that your dog basically fuses with Cerebus and is like super devil dog and always loyal to you.
Oh god, I just thought of one more character we have to do.
Hmm?
The infamous Henry Ford. Horse
Oh no.
blood mage from all them horses.
Horseblood Mage.
Yeah.
Horseblood Mage.
Henry Ford, professional horse mage. What? Blood mage, I mean, definitely nothing to do with horses.
I definitely don't murder all horses. I definitely don't harvest all of their blood for my spells. I'm Henry Ford.
Dude just has a super soaker of horse blood, pretends to be a wizard. Why do we make fun of Henry Ford this way? Like, we could do motherfucking Tesla, who has been a character on this podcast once.
But Henry Ford.
I need more horses to perform my magic. Are they part of the ritual? Yes! Definitely not a sick perversion of enjoyment for me. Dude's actually just like an arcanist who just likes killing horses still. It's like, I pretend to use the horses, but actually it's just horse motor.
I'm Henry Ford, and I approve this message.
Yep. We're gonna get hit with the slander suits.
Yeah.
Why do you hate Henry Ford? We don't, but he's a horse murderer. God damn it.
Oh.
Thank you for writing in, Patrick. And you're absolutely right. Hippies would be druids, not wizards.
Yeah.
What would that make meth addicts? Like magic addicts? What would a meth addict be then if they were a wizard?
A meth addict?
Oh, a Shadowrun physical adept.
Okay, yeah, that tracks.
It makes them adept at something, certainly.
And kind of unkillable.
Yeah.
We hit it with a car, it's got meth magic. It's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like meth would be like a chaos level of magic of some sorts. And it just slowly starts to eat away at the personality.
Yeah, that's what kind of being a physical adept can do to you as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, except
see, I don't know these.
except not personality as much as just your teeth. It just every time you cast a spell, a tooth falls out.
Yeah. Like, you're literally draining the power from your body, essentially.
Yeah. What about Stoner?
I think they're just druids still. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. With all the crazy stuff they do, I feel like they would be like next level.
are you talking like stoners, or like the ones that like mix and match various chemicals?
The ones who are like crazy next level cannabis people.
I think they're still just druids because they're all into that nature shit. Like,
And it'd really just be like, I don't know, all right, so they tend to make things like, like make fancy type a lot of new ways of smoking weed. I mean, that's definitely a thing.
I'm still hearing druid, man. Like, I feel like druid,
like an arcanist or something, create the one of the artificer,
maybe.
creates things.
Not pyromancer. Those are people that vape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's still some flavor of druid in my mind, I guess. Like, they're like, I'm not talking like the WoW version of druid. I'm talking like the more traditional fantasy version of druid, where it's like the correct way of role playing them in some ways to be like, man, we should not do that because it's bad for nature. Also, you want some of these herbs? I found them. They're my class ability. They will not fuck you up this time. I checked. Unless you want to, then I got some other herbs. That's it for emails this week. Thank you for writing in, Patrick.
Thank you so much for the email, Patrick.
Yeah.
It was enlightening.
Yes. That's for this week's episode, though. I'm sure it's been interesting from an editing standpoint for me. I'm just calling that shot now. Anything you two want to talk about? Get the hell out of here?
No, not really. Other than you can follow us on my social medias, Mave Online across the board: Facebook, Twitch, Mixer, YouTube Gaming, Instagram,
The normal stuff.
Twitter. Yep.
All right. Yeah, I am Kraken0 on Facebook and on Instagram. That's ZER0. And I am Nomad HAR on Twitch. Yep, that's how you can get in contact with me.
You want to take us out this week, Henry, because you missed two, or want one of us to do it?
Sure, cue the metal.